This is Digging Deeper Without the Coalface. This week's episode is brought to you by Easy Group, your trusted partner in vehicle rentals, mechanical services and sign solutions. Servicing Mackay, Moranbah and Emerald with dedication and excellence. Everything is easy with Easy Group. And here's your host, Jessica Rouse.
Now, Rae O'Brien is a pretty amazing woman, if you ask me. She's currently the Thiess Group Executive Australia East, 30 plus years of mining experience, the first woman in New South Wales to hold both first and second class mining managers certificates and a whole host of other things. And she joins us on this episode. Rae, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Nice to join you.
It's a pleasure to have you on this podcast. I've been wanting to get you on for ages because I think you just have had so much experience in the mining industry and you just have so many stories that you can share with us and our listeners.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to the start of your career. Where did you grow up? Was mining always something that you were going to go into?
Probably not. I grew up in the Air Force and moved all over the country, but I think probably more to the point in a family full of engineers. So everyone else in my family is already an engineer, so there was probably no hope for me.
You weren't escaping it.
I've married one as well, and both my daughters are studying engineering.
Oh,
so
there you go.
It's part of the DNA, I think.
Yeah.
But there weren't any mining engineers in my family.
Yeah.
And I think more so my chemistry teacher in year 11 and 12 was a geologist.
Yeah.
And she sparked my interest. So we did a lot of minerals processing, and I realised I really loved geology and it was just fascinating to me, and the chemistry side of it, as in how do you then create economic minerals out of the rock.
Yeah.
And yeah, we went and visited a mine, and then she made me aware of a scholarship at UNSW, the co-op scholarship it was called, or it still is called. And so I just set out to get that scholarship, and ended up getting it for mining engineering, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So moving around a lot as a younger kid. I think I went to 10 schools all up in my schooling career. So moving around wasn't anything new for me, and mining can be a bit like that, although I've managed to kind of stay in one place for sort of several years at a time, and able to settle down. My husband and I got married before we went to our first jobs, full-time jobs, and we've managed to stay together this whole time as well. So a lot of the time we were working together in probably half of our careers. We worked in the same company or even in the same operation. Yeah. And then the other half we've worked in different operations or in different companies, but managed to raise twin girls throughout that period.
Yeah. That's certainly something that at the recent Mining Her day with Thiess in Singleton, we were talking about, the fact that you can have a career in mining and be a mum and bring up a family and do all of that sort of thing. Was it a challenge for you?
Of course. Yeah, of course. I think personally I wanted to kick quite a few milestones before I left on maternity leave. And, when we found out we were having twins, my husband's first comment was, "Oh my God, that's typical you," like being efficient.
That's right.
But I did only have to do it once. Not more than once. Of course it was a challenge. So I did take the 12 months with the girls, although I had to leave earlier having twins as it's supposedly a high-risk pregnancy. But I went back to work when they were about 8 months old, part-time. And luckily we had family around to help. So my mum came and stayed with us, even though originally when she said, I'll come and stay with you and look after, I thought, oh no.
This is going to be terrible.
No, it was such a blessing. It was so good. And then Matt's mum also went part-time. And so between my mum, his mum, and then my manager, or our manager, we worked for the same manager at the time, suggested the two of us go part-time as well. So between the four of us, we managed to, and daycare, we managed to raise the two girls in their early years. And then, between his calendar and my calendar, we just had to manage our travel once they got to school, etc. And race to go and pick them up after work and make sure someone gets there before they close.
Yes. I feel like it would be a constant juggle until they're, old enough, independent and can do everything themselves.
Exactly. But I think by that stage, both of us were reasonably senior and we had a fair amount of control over
for sure
what we did in our roles and could travel. But before having children, I wanted to finish a lot of my studies and things before, so I finished I think my VO's ticket and an MBA and my undermanager's ticket before I fell pregnant.
Yeah. That's so cool. So when you finish your mining engineering degree, where did you end up at first?
So during my mining engineering degree, you have to go and get, at the time, 120 days of work experience. So I worked at 3 different mines. My first experience was at Broken Hill in the underground, which was a big adventure. It was great.
Do you remember your first time going underground?
My first time going underground was, I think it was at Westcliff Colliery in the first few weeks of uni because I hadn't been before. And a few of us had organised to go and visit, and it was, I don't have a problem with it at all. I know some people might feel claustrophobic. It's just like going in a tunnel. Yeah, exactly. Except now that, I've got the knowledge to know what's keeping the roof up, what the sides up. You know what to look for.
Yeah, exactly.
But Broken Hill South was 1.6 kilometres deep, 25 levels, very easy to get lost. It took me the full 3 months to get confident and, going around on my own or knowing where to go. It was, I think the rock temperature at the bottom of the pit was something like 60 degrees centigrade. So it's very hot. Yeah. In that sort of environment. Yeah. But no, I look back fondly. I worked with a ventilation crew, and you can imagine how complicated the ventilation flow is in a place like that.
Oh,
but
definitely.
It's a great place to cut your teeth.
Yes.
And then I worked at, where did I go next? Tarmore Colliery. Yep. Down near Bargo in New South Wales. The Southern Highlands, really. Yep. And then I worked up at Parabadoo for Hammersley Iron at Parabadoo Mine, which is one of the first iron ore mines. Okay, in West Australia.
I was going to say,
yeah, and that was awesome. That was fantastic, and all 3 experiences extremely different in terms of technically, like how do you actually do this? Like when I got to the iron ore mine, I just looked at it and went, I don't understand this. How do they work? Because basically the whole lot's iron ore.
Yeah, so I have no idea what the difference is really between mining for coal and mining for iron ore.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, the iron ore in the Pilbara is banded iron formation, BIF, and it's pretty much most of the Pilbara is quite high grade in iron ore, but they were sort of mining 30+% iron. Yeah. And there's different types of iron ore in the BIF, and it's like different colours as well. And but the mine itself looks a bit rat holey, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Whereas in a coal deposit is a sedimentary deposit.
Yes.
And the coal's like in seams, coal seams, and you mine the rock away and then you mine the coal away separately. Whereas in the iron ore mine, it's all pretty much iron ore.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's not necessarily concentrated. It's definitely not concentrated in bands like in a coal seam.
So it's in different deposits in different...
And generally speaking, the open cut coal mines will be more in a strip formation, in straight lines. Not always, but they should be. But,
most of the time.
And basically you can then fill back in, dump back in on yourself and then recover, as in reclaim, rehabilitate progressively as you go, so that the open face is as little as possible.
Yeah.
So what's left is as little disturbed land as possible, whereas other types of ore, that's not the case, and you've just got to keep going down until it becomes uneconomic and you're left with this quite large hole.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, so it's not as progressive.
Yeah.
And underground wise, again, coal is generally speaking flat and, similar thickness, so it's more laminar.
Yeah.
So, but in a metal mine, it just depends how the deposit was formed. It could take many different shapes, and there's lots of different mining methods for the different shapes of the ore bodies. Yeah. So, it's fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
And the challenge of the mining engineer is to work out the most economic way and the safest way, obviously, to extract the ore to get the best value out of that deposit.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you need to understand all about all of the different parameters, so obviously environmental and then the approval side of things, but the environmental impacts of that mining activity that will have on the local area, the flora and fauna, and obviously the local communities. But then, like the ore itself, what is the nature of it? How can you mine it? Like, what method could you use? What equipment do you need to use? Yeah. And then how do you transport it?
Exactly.
How do you process it? Like, all of these questions need to be answered to work out if something's going to be economic enough to actually
be worth
invest.
Doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's every deposit's different.
Yeah.
Every coal mine is different.
Yes.
So you can't just generalise, but you got to look at each deposit on its own merits and try and understand what's the best way we can extract value out of this.
Exactly. I think it took going and actually physically seeing several open cut pits to finally start noticing, oh, okay, that seam is actually so different to that pit that I was at a month ago. It's all so different.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And, I think the pit that I've had the most, so one seam the pit that I've seen the most complexity in, from a number of seams point of view, 120 different seams being mined, 127 different seams being mined in the one mine.
Oh, wow.
But you could have one mine that has one seam that's really thick and like really easy.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then we could have few seams, but it's highly structured. Yeah. So there's lots of the seams duck and dive and join up and split apart all over the place, and you might get a lot of faulting and or igneous intrusions coming through it. So then it adds all this complexity to the mining method.
I feel like as a mining engineer, you would relish the complexities and the challenge.
Yeah. And that's just in an open cut. So
exactly.
Underground's even worse.
That's it. Yeah. So from those three experiences, where did you decide that you were going to end up?
Yeah, so when I was going for interviews or applying for jobs in my final year, I was actually engaged at the time. My husband and I got engaged like earlier in my final year. And so when I was going for my interviews, part of my question was, would you consider looking at my husband? He's a mechanical engineer. Yeah. He's 2 years out of uni. He's already working. And some companies were not, and some companies were. So then I just stopped talking to the companies who were not, because I wasn't going to go without him. And so we both ended up with Shell Coal up at Cap Coal in Central Queensland. Lived in Middlemount for 5 years as my first full-time position. And again, that was great. We were there with a couple of other, lots of other people our age, but there were two couples in particular that started at the same time as us, and we're still very, very good friends today.
There you go.
30 years later. Yeah. And, all got kids similar age, etc. Although we haven't sort of lived in the same locality for a very long time. But, lifelong friendships formed in that sort of environment. But, it was, from a working perspective, both of us got very, very good grounding and very, very fast exposure to lots of facets of our craft, because there's such a high turnover. So we were given lots of work very, very quickly, and the breadth of our knowledge was expanded very quickly. Yeah. So I started working at Central, the Underground, as an operator, and I did that for a few years. Yeah. But I kept doing my other job in the background.
Oh, wow.
So they couldn't tell me to come out. So I did string it out for a few years. Yeah. But in that time I worked on every crew, operated every bit of equipment, and there were a couple of crews that I, really hung out with the most because I was learning a lot, and I know they taught me properly. Yeah. So we set a lot of records in those days. Yeah. So I guess roof bolting or cable bolting was one of my favourite things. Yeah. And the first cram multi-bolter was trialled at that place. Oh, there you go. On our first shift, we set the world record on number of bolts in an 8-hour shift. It was great. Yeah. Yeah. And then that machine went into practice, or we bought it, and so that was my machine, and everyone knew it was my machine. We're not to touch it. But it was awesome. And the machines these days probably not as versatile as that one. Hadn't not necessarily thought through as well as that one. Yeah. And then on longwall moves. I think in that one crew, I think I did 5 longwall moves. Oh wow! And every time, even when I left from being an operator and I went to be a gas drainage engineer, I'd just drop everything. Every time there was a longwall move on, I'd go and pull chocks with that crew, C crew it was. And again, we set records for number of chocks removed in a shift. It gets quite hairy. It wouldn't be allowed today what we used to do. But pulling, I think 27 roof supports off in a shift, in an 8-hour shift. Yeah, was pretty good going.
Do you think it was purely the crew that you were with at the time that made those things happen?
Absolutely. We got ourselves into the rhythm of what needed to happen, and everyone knew their role and what needed. Basically it was like a racing crew with a pit stop. It's not quite the same thing, but everyone knew what they had to do. Exactly. Play their part and get those chocks off that base and stand the support. So that was really fun, and I do look back on it quite fondly. Yeah. But also, I guess we all, because I worked on every crew in that mine, but I could walk into the panel and everyone did know what had to happen when, and I don't see that so much these days. It was very organic, but everyone knew the process and what needed to happen next, and people just pulled their weight and did it. Yeah. So it was a really good experience. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it always hard to leave like a crew like that when you get so everyone knows what they're doing, you gel so well?
Yeah. Absolutely. Although I will say that because I worked on all the different crews, I found there to be similarities in the personalities even, as well as the skill sets on every single crew. So like a Peter on one crew would be similar sort of role as a Norm on the other crew, and Sando on the other crew. Like they're all the same type of person, same type of skills. And years later, when I ran into the mine manager, I mentioned that to him. I said, "How did you get such similar crew makeup in every single crew? What did you do?" And his answer was, "We just made the deputies responsible." And I that was a cop out. There is something to that.
Yeah, definitely.
It was very like me as a 22-year-old or whatever, being able to pick that up then. Yeah, there must have been something to it.
Definitely. How was it being a 22-year-old going underground, bolting roofs with a crew of blokes, I'm assuming, or were there other females?
No, there weren't any other women. Yeah. I think there was one once. Yep. But no, it was good. They all treated me extremely well. In fact, I think I was treated better because I was a female.
Yeah.
And I think they really looked after me and made sure I learnt properly.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. No, it's great. And, you know, I could walk in to the panel and have a look at how it was looking, and I could tell who cut what.
Who done it?
And it is a real art form. Like
Yeah.
a really good operator. And they all did it slightly differently, but
Yeah.
they all did it very, very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone talk about this sort of stuff like this. It's awesome. It's so cool.
But, I mean, they used to, one crew, a B crew I hung out with the most in development, and the thing was, at that mine, they used to put, they call them a floater, so they put a different person in the crew each week
Okay. Yeah.
to make sure that, you know, the skills are being spread around and people are making sure they're keeping their skills up. And so every week there'd be a different floater in the crew, and they'd always put them up against me for the bolting. So, and I'd always win. And
of
then
course.
They always berate them. But it is a case of slow and steady does always win when it comes to bolting. You push too hard, you'll just bog your rods or bend your rods, and you end up screwing up the whole thing.
And having to start again, I'm assuming.
Yeah. But no, it was, I think back very fondly about those times. Yep.
That's awesome. So did you stay in Queensland very long in Middlemount, or?
5 years.
Yeah, and then moved?
Yeah, we went down to, we moved to the Blue Mountains. We worked out at Lithgow.
Yep.
And we were there for 9 years.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, I had...
Still in the same role? Or?
No, I had different roles. Before I left, I went and did gas drainage for a couple of years. So underground for 3 years and mining engineer in the background. And then, 2 years in gas drainage. Again, lots of awesome learning, and same with those crew. The gas drainage crews were very awesome in teaching me what good looks like. And first thing I did was go and spend 2 weeks on night shift so I could get to understand night shift, but also those guys, and try and understand the process. And we set all sorts of records. We basically doubled our drill rate by just systematically working through how to systematise it better, and get rid of all de-bottleneck the whole process, get standards in place. And as soon as you get standards, the production goes up. Yeah. So that was good. I really enjoyed that as well. But I guess the other thing I learnt from the gas drainage was it was the bottom of the pecking order in terms of priorities.
Gotcha.
And so you learn very, very quickly how to influence. So I had no equipment allocated to me, so if I needed any work done, I had to go cap in hand every shift to get stuff moved, get things done, and managed to do that. Yeah. And then when I moved to the Lithgow role, one of my first jobs, so Springvale mine it was, and which was again a huge learning for me. Definitely. And there's some extremely difficult areas that they'd been through, and they'd put arches through because they just couldn't keep the roof open. So one of my first jobs was to go and fix that, and I worked out I needed to get 120 big bags of geofill grout down the pit. And so that was the first thing I did, was go to the out by deputy and go, please, pretty please, every time, in 2 weeks' time I'm going to need to do this job. Over the next 2 weeks, do you think you can, ferry this stuff down the pit for me, please? Explain to him, what we had to do. And I was expecting like all these excuses, and the answer was, oh yeah, no worries. that's fine.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. And and we got the gear down. Yeah. No problem, got the job done, no problem. Because otherwise they would have had to have done the job. Exactly. And I find you need to work out how the pit actually works in terms of the people. So you got to know
the people politics.
Who to ask. Yeah. And how to ask.
Yep.
Who really runs the pit?
Yes.
Is the question. Yeah.
Exactly. That's so good. So were you doing the same role for that whole 9 years you're at Lithgow? Or?
No. So I was the senior mining engineer when I started there. And then I got my under manager's ticket.
Yeah, so explain the mining manager certificates.
Okay, so in mining, and coal mining in particular, you need to have statutory qualifications to undertake certain leadership roles or supervisory roles. So a third class ticket or a deputy's ticket allows you to lead a crew, operate a crew, or inspect an area, or do some other sort of inspection type activities. A second class ticket or an under manager's ticket allows you to run a mine, and in New South Wales, not just New South Wales, all states except for Queensland, you can't perform extraction activities at a mine without a second class ticket being there.
Yeah.
So technically you could probably do development, which is not extraction. But over 15 people in a mine, you have to have a second class ticket in place. So an under manager or a shift boss sort of in a metals sense, you have to have that role there on site if you're going to operate the mine.
Yeah.
And then a first class ticket or mine manager's ticket, every mine has to have a statutory mine manager, and the mine manager is statutorily responsible for the safety, but basically abiding by the Mining Act or the Workplace Health and Safety, Mineral Mines and Petroleum Act and regulations. So you have a nominated operator, which is generally you have to have a mine manager's ticket to do that, but you also need mechanical, electrical. So so I got my second class ticket, and then I don't think it's the case anymore, but that used to be the hurdle for people to then take superintendent roles.
Right.
So as soon as I got my under manager's ticket, I then became the longwall superintendent.
Yep.
And so I had the first 305 metre wide face in Australia. I think we went from 265 metres wide longwall to 305. So, not a little bit wider. Yeah. But at the time it was the widest in Australia. And when you operate a longwall, that then impacts how you manage that face. It is quite different. So a longwall, it appears to be a big piece of machinery, but it's lots and lots and lots of individual bits of equipment all connected together, and the whole thing has to operate as one. So managing the face standards and managing the retreat in 3D, basically, you've got to be in the right horizon, you've got to be in the roadway at the right position. So you've got to manage, they call it creep, so the face will move up or down. Yeah. And you don't want to get yourself stuck in either end. But at Springvale, we had particularly large undulations in the seam. So they can act as anchor points as well and can cause all sorts of issues. But from a geotechnical point of view, it's actually quite a difficult mine. And the tailgate, which is the roadway that you don't generally use, we would not have access to because it was fully chocked out, we call it, but had standing support in it. So you couldn't get any vehicles up there anyway, but if we didn't, the thing would have collapsed. So it was to stop the floor heave and the roof coming in. Yeah.
Pretty important part.
And we had 300 litres a second of water coming at us as well. So there was a lot of challenges there. But
far out.
This first wide face, we implemented automation as well. Yeah. And so I thought I knew longwalls because I was an operator before, but no, I did not. But again, I spent the first 2 weeks on night shift with night shift and learnt that crew and learnt what their challenges were. And however, I had been in development a lot and I'd done a lot in planning and I learnt from my operator days that the process, the mining process, needed to be standardised, and so we got the longwall retreat process pretty well humming, and we did, standardise a lot of things there and actually got performance up.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome.
yeah. So it's not the most easy place to mine, but the guys there were so supportive and very wedded to this idea. No, we have a process and we have to stick to it.
Yeah.
And that's great for consistency, but when you want to do something slightly different, that's very hard.
Yes.
But it's normally the opposite problem that you have.
Yeah.
But they all understood why we had to have things done in certain order. So when conditions are extremely difficult, all of your work needs to be proactive.
Yeah.
If you leave it to be reactive, you'll end up doing 10 times as much work to try and get through it, costing yourself a lot more time and a lot more money. So I think being proactive and working ahead of yourself in terms of getting all of the pre-work done in difficult conditions is extremely important.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was that, and then the tech services manager role became available, so I then moved into tech services manager role, so I could take on more of I was in charge of the business planning and the mine planning and the geotech work and the ventilation work. So at one point, because we couldn't get anyone, I was tech services manager, but doing all the mine planning, all the geotech and all the VM.
Oh my
work.
goodness.
But I'd done them before, so I knew how, but that's not really very sustainable.
No, not for a long period of time, that's for sure.
But yeah, it was a really good little group that we had going, and also all the departments worked very well together. So the production manager, the tech services manager and the engineering manager all worked together, and if any one of us was away, the others could do, could run the mine.
So 9 years at Lithgow and then...
Yeah. Then I came to the Hunter.
Yeah.
So got a phone call. So someone asked me a question, where was it? At IMARC, at a careers thing.
Yeah.
How many jobs have you actually applied for in your career? And two. That was
there
it.
You go.
Two. So those first two jobs are the two that I mentioned, and then I started getting phone calls. So I got a phone call and from Xstrata, and ended up moving to the Hunter Valley. And then I was at Ravensworth Underground, which was interesting. It was really good. So going to a different company, I'll have to say the pace of Xstrata compared with where I'd come from was just relentless. There's just so much going on. But the mine itself, when I started digging into the design and all the issues they were having, there were a lot of issues with the fundamentals at that place. And so it's kind of difficult after the fact, especially with the longwall mine, after it's been laid out.
Yeah.
To
go back in and change things.
You can't.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
No.
And from an approvals perspective,
yes,
it's very difficult.
Yeah.
As well, because there's so many studies that you've got to get over the line, and approvals are not easy these days.
No, not at all.
So, but it was really good. It was a really good eye opener, and I think I surprised myself a little bit, having been in a few different difficult mines.
Yes.
When you start unpacking why this mine was laid out like this, and what can we do about it? So suffice it to say, the mine closed. However, if the price is high, things can survive for quite a long time.
Yes.
And there was good value there, but at the end of the day, Xstrata didn't buy it for the underground mine; it bought it for other parts of that asset.
Yeah.
So, but I was there for a year, and I got then asked, did I want to take the group role? So I ended up taking the group role, group tech services manager role for XEN.
Okay. Yep.
which I hadn't done a group role before, and that was it's probably one of the best jobs I've ever had, I'd have to say. So I was in that role for 7.5 years or 8 years.
Yeah,
nearly.
okay, yeah.
And one of the challenges I was given was you need to build a mining engineering framework. I went, okay. So that was Ian Cribb. And so I said, do you realise what you're asking me to do? Like having to unpack 5 or 6 different disciplines and try to put down in simply what they are. But we did.
Yeah.
We did. So we unpacked the core of geology, core of geotech, core of mine planning, ventilation, gas drainage, surveying, drill and blast, and we were able to come up with some core principles.
Yeah.
And we started by using the expertise that was already there and distilling it down to some very basic stuff.
Yep.
And then defining deliverables, and then we started implementing that across the group. And when I first started in that role, most of my time was taken up with, we called it Black Hawk Down. So you'd have to go in, fly and chopper in. There's been a problem somewhere, you have to chopper in and go and help them, right? And then help them get out of the situation, and then share those learnings across the group.
Yeah.
And most of my time was spent doing that.
Yeah.
Mostly in the undergrounds, mostly geotech.
Yeah.
Right. But as soon as we started implementing these, we call it the technical framework, started implementing those, they just stopped. Those Black Hawk Down moments just stopped happening.
Yeah.
So if you get the fundamentals right, you don't end up in trouble, or you have to try really hard to get into trouble.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that was amazing experience.
Yeah.
And I managed to get across so many different mines, understand. So one of the principles that we put forward was we cannot prescribe what you do or how you do something at every single scenario that could possibly occur. There's no way we can come up with that.
No.
But what we can prescribe is a process to follow, and what are the things that you need to consider, which is what we did.
Yeah.
And we employ qualified, competent people in their field for a reason. Like, we're not going to tell you how to do your job, but we're going to say, in this company, this is what we expect you to, how we expect the process to go, and these are the deliverables of those processes, and that seemed to work. I believe it's still in place now. I've been gone for like 8 or 9 years now.
Yeah.
But I learnt so much about all of those different fields when you distill it right back down to the basic stuff. And I know some of that thinking's been taken globally into other, but like I think the geotechnical stuff's definitely gone into a global standard.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of that.
As you should be.
Yeah. But it applies to anything, to be honest. And so as I've moved through different companies now, you can actually just distill it back down to what is the core process here. Yeah. And quite often, if someone can't tell you, there isn't one.
Yeah.
And you have to question why you're doing it then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your wealth of knowledge and experience is just next level.
Thank you.
It's so impressive. It's amazing, honestly. So when you spent a while there and then moved on.
I went
again
to Peabody.
Yep.
Next. So I wanted to go back into operations after several years not in operations, and
getting your hands dirty.
They couldn't really see how, like, where that would happen in Glencore, and then I got another phone call, and they offered me a GM in waiting type position, and so I did a bit of underground what did they call me? Operational director for undergrounds. But I looked at the 3 undergrounds that they did have, and none of the 3 of them had really got together before, and we were really focused on roadway development. And we, again, by putting that focus into the process, getting everyone to talk to each other, sharing that community of practice across all of the different applications, again, we're able to really pick up on their development rates, and just getting them to think differently. Yeah. So, and then a GM position came up down at Metropolitan, down Helensburgh, near Wollongong. And so that was my first general manager role. It was full of, you know, like families who'd been 4 generations working at the one mine. In fact, like there's people in Helensburgh who probably can't even tell you there's a mine there. It's like so kind of hidden away, and it's not imposing at all. And it's been there for over 135 years.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if it is the oldest continuing operation in the country. So there's certainly some very awesome old workings down there that still have like the old stables which they uncovered. It looks like the horses walked out of there yesterday. And
that would be so cool.
Saddles and chaff all over the place. Wow. It's really cool. Yeah. And then the old undermanager's station from the 50s still has their books in there.
Oh, wow.
And perfectly preserved.
That's so cool.
It is so cool. But again, like it's got difficulties. So it is outburst prone, and it has CO2 rather than methane. So that from a greenhouse perspective, there's not a lot you can do there, but you still got to drain the gas to mine safely. So again, thinking about things differently, we were able to change the gas drainage orientation and, you know, basically drain the main headings, which they hadn't been able to do successfully. And they went from like 30 metres a week in their mains development to 30 metres a shift.
Wow.
But I mean, then COVID hit. And then, we were okay for a little while, but we had to come up with all of these, scenarios and scenario planning, and all of them actually came to fruition pretty much. Yeah. So then the price started to fall, and then we were in trouble. So then basically we had to restructure, and that was very difficult time for everybody. So there was 165 jobs that we had to remove. Yeah. Many of them contractor roles, which they were able to do some job sharing, etc. It was very uncertain times. Like no one knew what was going to happen. And then we did VRs, and then we had to make some people forcibly redundant, which was horrible. But the whole time we were trying to communicate this, keep the communication up. Yeah. And so with COVID, we had to split our shifts into 4 drops. So because it was a dolly car and a shaft entry, we had 4 start times for the 4 different crews. So I had to do 4 comms on the one shift, and there were 5 crews, so there's 20 sets of comms. Oh, goodness. And we were doing that every week. Yeah. And then there was the wash plan as well. So it was intensive in terms of trying to communicate what was going on, but certainly did not take that lightly. And I think during that, everyone who was left got very close.
Oh, for sure.
And we changed the roster. We did a whole heap of things. And on the second shift back, after we finished doing all of the change, we set the first record.
There you go.
And then every couple of weeks after that, another record would fall and another record would fall. And it then became the norm to start breaking records. And I just said to the development super, I don't want to hear about shift records anymore. I want to hear about week records, month records. And we made sure we celebrated those records as well. And so that's what I'm saying. We went from 30 metres a week to 30 metres a shift. And then they start talking about, what do we think's possible? And I'm going, well, you've got a 12-hour shift. You're probably going to get 10 hours available to you.
Yeah.
And your peak rate's 5 metres an hour, so there's 50 metres. Go for it. Go for it. And so they did. They absolutely. I don't know what they're doing now, but certainly it turned their mindset from this is all we can get to how much more can we get?
Yeah. There's a theme of breaking records throughout your career so far.
But it's more about showing people what's possible.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I don't know the answers either. It's about getting the people to think about the problem and using the collective to come up with the answer. And
exactly.
They really did. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
So then I went back to my old stomping ground at Springvale after that. And again, another learning for me. All the same people.
Yeah.
But nothing like the place that I left.
Yeah.
So I thought that all of the processes and systems that we had, which at the time was industry leading, which was renowned to be industry leading. And I took with me to Xstrata and helped build some of their processes with.
Yeah.
All gone. All gone. So I don't know. It is a lesson for me that it was still very much dependent on the people that were there, and the systems are only as good as the people who implement them. So if people don't understand, and I talked about being proactive. Once you stop doing that, you're then reactive all of the time, and your performance just goes through the floor. Yeah. So that's where they're at, basically.
Wow. And
to then turn that back around, very, very difficult when it's like very horrendous conditions. Yeah. So, I took on a group role at that point. So they hadn't done the sort of longer term forecasting of their production, and I built sort of a small team, and we looked at things differently. Yeah. I put some of these good systems in place that other companies have, and we very quickly unpacked where the value was in their operations. But we sort of showed that in sort of 3 to 5 years' time, there's basically nothing left. Yeah. So you're going to have to act now to get some extensions happening, to divest of some things. And I went and met with the guy who took over from me last week. And, it's good to say that some of that work's actually coming to fruition now. Yeah. So we identified some care and maintenance mine and some assets that would be useful for battery storage near power stations, waste to energy type facilities, or food waste to energy or composting type facilities. Yeah. And they're all happening. They're all starting to happen now. Yeah. So instead of spending lots of money keeping a care and maintenance mine on care and maintenance, it actually costs you a lot just to do nothing. Exactly. Then you may as well do something, spend a little bit of money and do something, and then you can make something of it. Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Yeah. So I think that was good for me to hear last week. Yeah, definitely. So then, I got another phone call, and the role that I'm currently in was offered. So had I not done that previous role when we were looking at alternative strategies, and we had looked at contracting out one of the operations because it had been on care and maintenance for like 8-10 years or so, and we needed to contract out some of the work. But then I thought, why don't we just contract out getting this mine back up to scratch? And then I realised, I actually don't understand this contracting model very well. And had I not done that when I got the phone call for this role that I'm in now, so this is my first time as a contractor, had I not done that, I think I would have said no thank you. Yeah. There you go. Yep. So I don't know why, but then, I was sort of on the phone there's a couple of mentors that I will call for these sorts of decisions, and they're going, yeah, absolutely, you should go for it. You should go for it. We get such good experience, and
Exactly, a wealth of experience.
Yeah, and it's been amazing because I, again, went in with, I'm not a contractor, or haven't been a contractor before.
Yeah.
I don't know this model.
Yeah.
But a lot of the key questions I had, there weren't any answers for. So, I said, what's the fundamentals of this? Well, there weren't. They weren't there. So then you can kind of then work with the team and build those fundamentals up. So there were some contracts that we'd signed up to that I've also said I'm not judging at all. There would have been reasons, but that doesn't make sense for us now. So we either change it now, which we've been working on. In the couple of years that I've been there, we change the contract terms, or we change the style of the contract. Yeah. Or we change the scope, or we get out.
Yeah.
Right. But I think asking those fundamental questions is sort of that's how we all talk now. So I'm very blessed with a awesome team, and they've all come from quite diverse backgrounds, but all long-term contractors. Yeah. But it's been like a huge learning. I've learnt so much from a contracting point of view, but also being able to see over the fence into some of our clients' operations and how their businesses are run, and you kind of ask some of those fundamental questions as well. And so it's I think from every front. So from a obviously operational front, but from a technical and like the mine planning thinking that's happening in my company is so awesome. Yeah, they've got the fundamentals down pat. And it's all about adding value, which I don't think as a general industry we're at the level we used to be at. Yeah. So the guys and girls in my team they're at the highest level that I've seen for a long time. Yeah. In terms of getting the best value out of that deposit. Yeah. From an equipment point of view, so this is probably my biggest area of learning is more about the fleet that we have. So Thiess has around $6 billion worth of mining equipment globally. So we've got it's a huge investment.
Massive, yeah.
And we make our money out of using our equipment.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the fleet side of things, from a fleet strategy point of view, I think we're asking ourselves some fundamental questions there as well. Yeah. And so I think there's some change in thinking there too. Yeah. But from a commercial and legal point of view, I've learnt so much.
You never stop learning in this industry.
Exactly right. No, exactly right. So I guess the other thing that this role's allowed me to do is get across multiple states and see how the legislation is governed or administered, one by the regulator and the level of maturity of the regulator, and also by the operators. Yeah. And there's a huge difference between all the states in that regard. Even though in two of the states it's exactly the same legislation. It's very interesting. And then from a risk perspective, because I did a lot of risk work when I was at Glencore, and then subsequently, there's the new legislation in Queensland's only just implementing the ICMM standard, which came in everywhere else in 2014. So it's interesting seeing this change in risk awareness and maturity. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to watch. It was painful in New South Wales when it happened, but I think we're in a much better place because of it, and the maturity of that way of thinking is leading to more collaborative engagements between the regulator and the industry in learning from all of the big issues and making sure that we've got the right controls in place. Yeah. And I think that there's a journey to go on in Queensland.
Yeah, definitely.
For that to happen.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With all of your knowledge, everything that you've seen, the industry, everything that you're seeing now, do you see a strong future for coal mining across the country?
Well, I think with this latest energy crisis, I think you'll see the price will continue to shoot up as we've got so much uncertainty
Exactly.
out there with oil and gas.
Yep.
And I think with critical minerals, so even if you counted copper, because we don't count copper in the critical minerals piece, but copper certainly is part of the electrification
Definitely.
Story. There's so much activity going on with exploration companies and startup companies trying to get copper mines off the ground, and then all of these other sort of other mineral metals like silver, gold, obviously because the price is so high. But from a critical minerals point of view, like rare earths, when I talk about complexity, there's so much complexity involved in one, finding them, two, working out how to extract them.
Yep.
So rare earths are rare, so they're in parts per billion. Per billion, and that means you just got to move a lot more dirt to get a small amount. And I think we'll see some novel ways of doing that. All of the processing of that stuff is largely dominated by China, and so I think around the world, I think there's going to be a bit of a race to try and bring some of that processing back in. I think we'll also see a lot of these deposits are in remote locations. You're going to probably see a lot more refining type, concentrating type processing happening on site, so that the bulk transport is less. And potentially the carbon footprint side of things will also drive that too to happen, so that you're transporting less material. But if you think about it now, most of what we export is bulks, and we export them overseas, and then we buy back the products. So that from a carbon footprint point of view, it's got to be better if we did more here, even if it was just concentrating.
Exactly. We're more than capable.
Absolutely. and obviously the price of energy is a big driver of that. So, but no, from a mining engineering point of view, there's so many more complexities coming in. The future of mining that I think we're going to need more mining engineers and capable engineer type people to come and solve some of these issues. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen.
That's it. I mean, it's such a tricky one. I mean, we saw Wollongong, University of Wollongong last year almost lose their mining engineering department. I mean, we can't let these things happen, otherwise we'll never have more mining engineers.
No, and like it's seen as a bad thing. I think that's turning. I think people realise it's not just coal. And by the way, Australia's got the best coal in the world.
Exactly.
If we don't mine it, it's going to be mined elsewhere at a far worse quality, and therefore there'll be more emissions.
Exactly.
Globally. If it's a global issue, then it's better to do it here when we've got such strict regulation as well, and how it's mined. It seems a bit counterproductive.
It does seem very counterproductive. Rae, I could honestly talk to you all day. We could talk about so many things, but we'll leave it there today. Thank you so much for joining us on the episode. It's been fascinating learning more about your career and digging deeper into what you've done in the industry. So thank you so much for joining us.
No, thanks very much.
Well, thank you for joining us for this episode of Digging Deeper with At the Coalface. You can download more episodes of the podcast on all your favourite podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, also on YouTube, Amazon Music, all the places. Make sure you leave us a rating and a review. We'd love to hear what you thought. And if you do have a story idea or something you'd like us to talk about on the podcast, please send me an email, jess@thecoalface.net.au. I'd love to hear from you, and we'll be back next time for another episode of Digging Deeper with At the Coalface.